I do want to thank the committee for entertaining my presence here today. I'm not normally on this committee, but I do represent Indiana County, and we have two of the largest coal-fired electric generation plants in Pennsylvania. And I also have introduced House Bill 2025, which would require that any implementation of something like RGGI go through the legislature before an executive order is given to implement. But my question is, really concerned with the implementation of something like this and the burden it's going to place on our power plants. As Representative Knoll said, the coal industry has been struggling for many, many years now. It's finally coming back. These power plants, particularly the ones in Indiana County, have already invested millions and millions of dollars to make themselves environmentally compliant. They've reduced their emissions already below required levels. I fail to see how the implementation of anything like RGGI will actually improve air quality. If they're already complying, this is simply going to put an additional financial burden on these power plants when they still have to generate the electricity that the entire East Coast is using. There'll be other experts here today I know that will testify. It's going to cause the consumers to pay more money. In some of the other states, I've seen estimates that their electric bills, some of the other RGGI states, that their electric bills have already increased by 64% for the consumers without really making any significant impact to the environment. I've also seen an estimate that if we eliminated all the emissions in Pennsylvania, carbon emissions, that it would only increase or decrease the overall global temperature by 1/1000th, which to me is insignificant when you look at the burden that it's going to place on these small towns in western Pennsylvania that are going to lose jobs. Our communities, and I've already heard it from the power plants, and I know some of them are here today, they're going to shut down because they can't afford to pay this tax, when the way I see it, it really doesn't have an impact on the environment. So can you tell me, how does RGGI actually improve air quality?
Sure, and a couple of things. One, I think the reality of what we've seen in terms of market forces in a low natural gas price environment is we're seeing closure of many of those plants now, and have seen that over the course of the past several years. Bruce Mansfield just being the most recent. So we are definitely seeing the impacts from a market perspective on that particular industry. Within the context of RGGI, carbon is a regulated pollutant at the federal level, which means it gets incorporated into our Air Pollution Control Act as a regulated pollutant. And this will result in a 3% reduction, again, under the current rules, year over year, of carbon dioxide emissions. I think structurally, two of the important things to recognize in terms of the program are, one, it is incremental. It's not a switch that gets thrown where there is suddenly a 30, 40, 50% reduction required and having those kinds of impacts. It is an incremental program. And two, that we're leveraging market forces, and not just within the state, but regionally in order to mitigate some of the cost impacts.
Thank you. Obviously, I have some bias. I'm protecting the people that I represent back in Indiana County. I don't see how that offsets the impact it's going to have on Pennsylvania's economy, but I appreciate your testimony and the opportunity to be here today, so thank you.